So welcome. Today we have Tim from the University of Winnipeg. Welcome, Tim.
Thank you for having me today.
And so we have a number of questions for you. And the first one's a little bit of a wordy question and a little bit loaded, but I'm going to ask away. A recent 2019 Manitoba First Nations report indicated about half of all our participating high school students in Manitoba wanted to attend a post-secondary institution. But the reality is only about 10% of these students actually attend. What is University of Winnipeg doing to help bridge this gap?
Going into schools, letting students know what's available in post-secondary, not just, so I do travel as a team of recruiters from a variety of post-secondary institutions. And I think it's just really important for students to know what's out there beyond the high school years. I know that for myself, going to post-secondary, I went in pretty blind. I didn't know what was available. I wasn't allowed at presentations because I wasn't maybe the best high school student. So I just went to post-secondary. I tried it out. I knew that maybe it would be good for my future. And then while I was there, I started discovering something called kinesiology, which is like sports, recreation, health and wellness studies. And I was really into sports growing up. Perfect opportunity for me to really explore a career path for myself within the recreation industry. And that really opened up my eyes. So for me to go out into high schools and let students know about the variety of programs and how big their world is going to get once they attend post-secondary, I think that's really important. I also think it's really important and help bridges that gap by letting First Nation students know how many Indigenous students actually attend post-secondary. And at the UW, we do have over 1,000 Indigenous students. So I think that fact is just really maybe a motivator for students to be able to complete high school and then, take that next brave step into going into post-secondary, just knowing that they won't be alone in this journey and knowing that other Indigenous students have carved that path as well and have been trailblazers. And maybe, the students watching this video, they can be trailblazers for their family and future Indigenous students thinking about attending post-secondary.
Awesome. I like to highlight just two things that you said there, and all of it was really good. Two things though that stuck for me or resonated for me was, you know what? I wasn't very good at high school. Look at where you are now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Recruiting for university students.
I did a presentation at my high school.
Yeah.
A couple of the teachers were just like blown away. One with the fact that I went to post-secondary, completed it, broke out of my shell. I was a really shy, kind of reserved student in high school. So for me to be able to stand up in front of groups, it was really good to be able to go back to my own high school and then show what I've become.
And so just think about that, students, that, you can do it too. If you think you're not a great academic student in high school, you could still do it. Tim is living proof, and thousands of others possibly at the U of Winnipeg. I like to hear that it is a large Indigenous group of students as well attending. That's awesome to hear. Moving on to the next question, Tim. What are some of the campus services available specifically for First Nation students?
At the University of Winnipeg, we have the Aboriginal Student Service Center, where we've created a safe space that is very much a home away from home for students. Some students, I'm a full-time employee paid to be there, 8 hours a day, and there's students that spend more time than that within our center, which I think is great and just shows how welcoming of a community it is, a safe space for students to be able to do their studies, connect with other students, and find that sense of belonging on campus is really important. Because you might be the only one from your high school, your own home community that maybe will be attending the University of Winnipeg. And that's, as much as it is a scary thought, there is that community on campus that you can make connections with. I do come from small town Manitoba. I come from a town of 80 people. So when I went to university, it was really important for me to make those connections really quickly because I was feeling alone. I think most of my friends went to, say, University of Manitoba. I chose the UW. And again, just connecting with the Aboriginal Student Service Center was important, getting to know the staff and the fellow students. And I just made lifelong connections there, which I think yeah, hopefully I'll be able to maintain throughout my life. I seem to have in the last 10 years since finishing university. So it's been good for me. The other supports that we offer through the center, we do have elders in residence. So we do have an elder there every day of the week. So again, that's a connection that you can make. Some of our elders are traditional spirituality. We do have Christian elders, blended. We have elders' expertise in storytelling and crafting and cultural activities. So on that note of cultural activities, we also do medicine picks, teachings, sweat lodges for our students, again, to maintain that connection with culture, as well as just to explore who you are as an Indigenous person. Again, me growing up small town Manitoba, I grew up with my dad who's non-Indigenous. That's my Cooglin last name, that's Irish, and my mom's from Bloodvein. So I go by the identity of Irish Anishinaabe. Yeah, so for me to explore my mom's side of the family, I did that all through university. I got to break away from my family that I grew up with a little bit and, you know, start carving out a path for myself, and making those connections on campus were really important. So that's the cultural side. We also have academic advisors to help you with career planning and figuring out your degree. So we have a specific Indigenous academic advisor within our center. And then we do social events as well. So again, just really promoting that sense of belonging, connection to peers. Even in these COVID-19 times, we've managed to host bingo nights virtually, virtual movie nights. We had a Santa Claus come and do an event for families. So again, we have a lot of students with families. So we try to do social events focused on that as well. So we do offer a lot to our students, from academics, financial support, cultural activities, and then social events as well.
Nice. That sounds like a really good variety, which is awesome to have students to have so many choices to pick from, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to pick your brain a little bit, and because I'm guessing you at one point were a first year student somewhere.
In the beginning.
Yeah. Going back to your beginning, and you know, the beginning for others in the future that will come, I should say. What is campus life like for a first year student at UW?
In all honesty, it's scary.
Please be honest with us, yes.
Yeah. Again, for me, coming from small town Manitoba, town of 80 people, right? Going into potentially classrooms that had more students in one room than my entire town, right? Was scary. That doesn't often happen at the University of Winnipeg. Luckily, we're able to keep our classroom numbers down for the most part within first year courses. I did have maybe two of my classes where there was quite a few students in it. So that part was scary. Adapting to that new level of independence, that was a challenge. So not everything falls on you, but you know, it is up to you to take initiative and really work through your schoolwork, adjusting to your new lifestyle of being a post-secondary student. So again, making those connections on campus, I think, as quickly as possible is important. Joining student groups, that can help with breaking those barriers and breaking out of your shell a bit. And there's 70 plus student groups, you know, different interest groups, cultural groups. You know, every major and faculty have their own student groups as well. So you can be with like-minded people. So make those connections. Luckily for me, I was able to use my sports background, and I got involved with the Kinesiology Student Association, as well as the soccer team on campus. So I was able to, again, make those connections through sport. So again, you do have those opportunities at University of Winnipeg. But yeah, as much as it is scary, you know, your world is going to be opening up. You're working towards hopefully a potential career within a certain industry. Again, you're getting to make connections. Like I've mentioned before, I've managed to make what I hope are lifelong connections. My best friend, I met first year university, hung out with him, and now we pretty much do everything together. So again, it's a scary place. You'll be challenged, but that's good. They say you don't grow on a secure path, right? So it's good to challenge yourself. Take courses that, you know, will expand your mind, because again, your world is going to open up when you look at the courses that are offered at the University of Winnipeg. You're going to be able to explore topics that really interest you, that challenge you, but that are exciting. It's not just going to school like you might be thinking about high school. You're getting to study the courses that you want on the topics that you want. I wrote 20-page papers in kinesiology, and I was excited to write these 20-page papers, which is odd because in high school, I just always would do the bare minimum. But university is just like, you really get to study what you want and find that passion for yourself. So it's scary, but it's also a really great opportunity for growth.
I definitely appreciate your honesty, Tim, with regards to that. It is scary, right? Especially for a lot of high school students and in small communities, it is a scary just thought. And so to hear that from you who's been through it and help others go through it, and to hear about all the 70 plus things to get connected to, I'd really encourage students to get connected into those extracurricular activities.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. All right, moving on to our next question. If I live on a reserve or federal land, what kind of bursaries or funding would I have available to help my tuition and possibly living costs?
Most students are thinking their first option would, of course, be band-sponsored students. Just a few things that I like to make note of. It is important to know when those applications are due. Make sure you know what documentation you'll need for that application. And then there's generally a course load requirement. So for example, through Blood Vein, where I was sponsored, I needed to take 24 credit hours in the fall and winter. So it's important to know what kind of course load you'll be looking at to maintain your sponsorship. And then there are also many bursaries, awards, scholarships available to Indigenous students. On our awards website, there's a link on the side that does say Indigenous. So again, there's a lot of specific awards there. So for example, there might be an award for First Nations women in science, right? So again, you'll have to kind of go and do a little bit of legwork. We've compiled a pretty good list on our website. So you can look at some of those awards specifically for yourself. And one tip, I would suggest students to not just limit themselves to Indigenous specific awards. There's awards for, you know, the general student population. And I think a lot of our Indigenous students sort of only think they can get the Indigenous student awards. So again, look into those other general awards, scholarships, bursaries that can apply to you and see what you can get.
Awesome. And I'm thinking, Tim, maybe we could provide a link at the end of this video for students to explore on their own as well.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, sounds good. Moving on to the next question. If I wanted to attend your University of Winnipeg institution, what kind of marks would I need to meet your admission requirements? Now, I know University of Winnipeg has many courses and programs to get into, so I'm very looking for anticipation on how you're going to answer this one.
We do have our general entrance requirements. So you must complete a high school diploma with 30 Manitoba credits, 5 of which will be at the grade 12 level. So that's A, S, U, or G. 3 of those must be at the 40S level though. So then we'll look at your English, math, next highest 40S course. And if you have an average of 65% or higher, you'll be admitted to the U of W. For some of our programs in science, kinesiology, down the more science stream in kinesiology, business, there are some prerequisites. So prerequisite is a course that you'll need in order to take the next level of courses. So in high school, to get into science, you're going to need to take an upper level math. So that would be applied or pre-calculus, and even some of the science requirements like chemistry 40S might be, it's probably a requirement to get into the chemistry science program. So again, you'll have to look at the requirements. Again, the general requirements are graduate from high school, 5 grade 12 courses. We'll look at your math, English next highest 40S course. If it's an average of 65% or higher, you'll be admitted. So my average was 67. So I just scraped into the UW.
Well, those are a lot of numbers. So I'm going to encourage students to replay what Tim just mentioned, because that is very good and detailed information. And it's something you're going to need to know if you are even considering going to the University of Winnipeg. So thank you, Tim, for that detailed information.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Moving on to the next question. Are there accommodations specifically for Indigenous students living on campus? Now, I know you already highlighted some of these, so if you don't mind going that over again, that'd be greatly appreciated.
On campus, we do have 2 locations for smudging. One would be the Aboriginal Student Service Center. Just have to flick a switch, turn on a fan, and you can smudge away. And we do a medicine pick at the beginning of the year with students. Sometimes it's in the summer, sometimes it's early fall, depending on when we can organize that event. But we generally pick enough sage for the entire year. So we do have a supply within the Aboriginal Student Service Center. And then there's also the multi-purpose room within the Recplex. So that's one of our newest buildings on campus. It's our soccer field. And in the multi-purpose room, they've actually installed a ventilation system to be able to do smudging and pipe ceremonies. So again, that's really cool that the university can do that and indigenize in that way. And then we also have elders 5 days a week. We have a mentorship program through our transition year program for first year Indigenous students. So what we do is we partner first year Indigenous students with returning Indigenous students, somebody that you can make a connection with. You can chat with, meet for coffee. Some students just need that mentor to say, show them their classrooms on the first day. And then that's all the help they need from the mentor. Some, again, will meet for coffee every week. They'll attend our first year events and just really make that really good connection with that mentor. And the mentors, they do a really good job at connecting with our students. And then we also have the Indigenous Student Council, and they're active right within our center. They provide tea, coffee, they do social events, political events, they've done sporting events, weight loss programs. They have helped organize our graduation powwow ceremony. They're involved with a lot on and off of campus. So they're a really great student group to be connected with.
I didn't know about the peer mentorship program. That sounds really good.
Mm. Yeah, that's really helpful for a lot of our students. I know that it means a lot to be connected with those mentors throughout the year.
Yeah, definitely takes probably a lot of stress off too on that first week.
Oh, for sure.
Just knowing somebody who knows the layout of the land of campus.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, moving on to the next question, Tim. After COVID-19, will University of Winnipeg still provide online learning from home? So if I was living on reserve, can I remain on my reserve and complete my whole degree or program there?
Post COVID-19, the majority of our courses will be offered on campus again. As far as we know, we'll try to go back to what we used to do. But again, with our changing world and how the last year has been, it's really up in the air as to what courses we'll be offering online. I know it does work for a lot of students, but we do really promote the in-class learning as much as possible. The small class sizes, making those connections with professors and students and the networking and the student groups. We feel it goes a long way to our students' success at the University of Winnipeg. That being said, you can take a lot of classes by distance. We do have a large component of online courses, but in order to complete a degree, you will at some point have to attend the University of Winnipeg on campus.
And I know from talking to other graduates from University of Winnipeg, all of them have really appreciated the smaller class sizes. It just helps to feel more comfortable to share your ideas.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, moving on, next question. Are there tutoring services available? And if there are they included in my tuition?
A tutoring center right on campus. So that is a free service for any student across the university. So in there, they generally help with math, sciences, a lot of the first year courses. They do have a writing center as well. So they can help you edit your paper because that is a big component of university is writing essays. So it's important to get those skills down. If you're really struggling, then make sure you visit a tutor, visit that writing center and get those skills sort of hammered out. I guess I'll plug one of the first courses that you'll be taking at the university will be academic writing. So that's an important course to really take seriously and help build those skills going forward into your second, third year, and fourth year. Through the Aboriginal Student Service Center, we also offer tutoring services. So our transition year coordinator, again, that's part of his role, is to hire tutors across a variety of departments and majors. And if you're struggling in a specific class, just talk to Randy White, our transition year coordinator, and he can hopefully track down a tutor for that subject area for you. So we do a really good job at our tutoring services within the Aboriginal Student Service Center.
Awesome. So that's good to make note of, students. Another question I have here. If I live on a reserve, how can I best explore my career or course options for the University of Winnipeg?
For career services on campus, so they're obviously a great resource to help you discover a potential career path for yourself. There are a lot of online assessment tools through our career services website as well, and then talking to academic advisors, planning out your degree, and obviously exploring, you might find a subject area, you might find a course specifically that you really enjoy, and then how can you turn that course into a career? It'd be great to talk to an academic advisor and see what kind of path that specific subject area can lead to. We also host a career fair every year, so bring in hundreds of employers. Again, it's good to see what's out there. It's good to see what your university degree can allow you to do, because a university degree can be, I have a kinesiology degree, so I did recreation coordinator at an Indigenous high school here in Winnipeg, right? What I specifically trained for in university. But now my role is the Indigenous liaison officer, so the recruiter for the University of Winnipeg, which also requires skills that you'll learn through university. So a degree can apply to a specific role that you trained for. It can also allow you to find meaningful employment in something that maybe you didn't think that you didn't specifically train for, like this job. I love this job. Like, I love traveling. I love meeting students from all over the place. It's a great job. I didn't specifically go to school to be a recruiter, but it's just been a great opportunity for me. And again, once you have that degree, it's going to open doors for you as well. So a lot of opportunities there to find meaningful employment for yourself. In the Aboriginal Student Service Center, we do host a career speaker series every Wednesday. So we bring in employers from local organizations, federal opportunities, even international organizations that are all specifically looking for Indigenous employees in a variety of areas. So some of them are business oriented, science, arts. So again, all kinds of employers coming in to speak to Indigenous students specifically. So that's kind of why it's really important to stay connected to the Aboriginal Student Service Center as much as possible, know what's going on within our center, and don't miss out on these opportunities for yourself.
So moving on to the next question, 26% of First Nation students surveyed in Manitoba in their June 2019 report said they wanted a career in art, audiovisual technology, and or communications after high school. What learning do you have available in these areas at University of Winnipeg?
Unfortunately, we do not have a faculty of arts in like fine arts, in the sense that you'll be drawing, sculpting, painting, that kind of thing. The University of Manitoba does have that. Audiovisual, that would be a lot of Red River College type of programs. Something that we have in terms of creative fields, I would say, would be our theater and film program, where obviously visual arts are important and a big part of coursework when it comes to, let's say, building movie sets or costume design and makeup artistry. These are all the things that you can learn within our theater and film department. And then there's also the film editing side, which will deal with a lot of, having creative skills and artistic ability. So I think that field is probably our best bet for creative arts.
Now, in the same survey, 28% of First Nations students said they wanted a career in medical science and technology. What learning do you have available at U of W in this area?
Because we are technically a smaller school, we don't have the faculty of medicine, again, like the University of Manitoba will have. The closest thing that we could offer would be athletic therapy within the faculty of kinesiology. So being able to help athletes return to sport after injury or recovering after high intensity sport and getting back to being able to play. So if you're interested in working with athletes and their body and in the medical sort of area, I think the faculty of kinesiology and specifically our athletic therapy program could be a good option.
Now, this question might be a little difficult for you to answer based just that it is a university, but I will still ask it nonetheless. So in the same survey, 47% of our First Nation students said they wanted a job in the trades after graduating high school. What options do you have available, if any, in this area?
I see a lot of this when I travel with Red River. They get a lot of the attention. So it's obviously, the survey says 47%. So they do get a lot of attention, especially for their trades programs. That is a college program, so the U of W wouldn't specifically fit those needs. However, there are a lot of students that have done trades, gone and worked in the industry for a few years, and then they end up coming and attending the University of Winnipeg to build up their skills, specifically, like for instance, business. They might come and do a business degree, and then they'll have the skills in the trade area. They'll have a business degree and may be able to build their own company around their specific trade skill. So again, university's definitely not out for you if you want to do trades. We've had a student that he did mechanics, worked in that industry for a while, but always had a passion for theater and film, attended the University of Winnipeg, graduated with a theater and film degree specifically to make costumes and things for movie sets. So again, he's able to use his mechanics side, his skills there, and then also his university trained skills in theater and film. So again, a lot of students end up attending both.
And that's been the common theme for my other videos that had to do with universities and asking this question is usually trades are not offered, but it is good to know that, you know what, don't close that door because some skills can be transferable and you could always appear, a career path is ongoing and it should be malleable and have some flex to weave and turn until you find that ideal career.
Yeah. I think another note, along that trades line is we do actually have a connection with Red River College where they can take trades and they come to the university and they do a bachelor's of education so they can offer, they can be a teacher within trades in their schools. So again, that's an option as well.
Awesome and interesting to note because we have a posting for a tech voc teacher for MFNERC.
So that's how they get there.
That might be one of your graduates, who knows?
There we go.
So you know what, Tim, I want to thank you for taking the time and doing this today. And one other thing I just want to highlight before we leave is University of Winnipeg is a really good institution in even the Maclean's list. It's rated pretty well. And it's also in a great location, being very central to downtown Winnipeg with a whole host of amenities available.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like really accessible via bus. So I've lived in a variety of areas when I was attending school. I lived in West End, Osborne Village. I lived just outside the city and I actually would drive to the perimeter, drop my car off at a bus stop, jump on the bus, go down Portage Avenue, get back to my car. So again, the accessibility is really great.
Awesome thing to highlight. Again, thank you, Tim, for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Brett. It's good to chat.
And everybody watching, stay tuned for more videos to come.
See you guys.